So again, you're with a 2013 Kia Soul. This is a base model. We do not know the last time the spark plugs were changed, so we're probably pretty overdue. I think it has 166,000, and I don't know if the current owner has done that since they have owned it, and I'm not quite sure when they got it, but regardless, they told me they had it for a while, so it's going to be time. So we're gonna get these done. So a lot of engine covers nowadays that helps make it look a little bit cleaner. So they put a piece of plastic over it so you don't see all the wires and where the stuff collects. So a lot of these are simple. These are just held on by friction. So you just get underneath and pull up. And covers off. A lot of these, smaller vehicles, small 4-cylinder engines, they're all going to be very, very similar. Modern ignition systems are coilover plugs, spark plug wires. Spark plug wires aren't really a thing anymore. It's mostly gone to ignition coilover plug systems, which is exactly what this is. I was in here scoping this out in the past, and I saw that there were some acorns collected up in here, so I already have pulled those out, but right now I'm going to go in there with a shop vac to try and get all the leaves and other things out of there best I can on a first pass before I pull stuff out, because I don't want stuff to fall down into the spark plug tube. Spark plugs are in there currently, but there's a chance when I'm pulling them out, stuff could slide past and get into the cylinder, and that wouldn't be good. So we're going to attempt to try and get all this cleaned out before we expose the actual internal parts of an engine when we remove the spark plugs. Okay, so we'll pull the coil plugs off now, then we're going to run the vacuum over it again, just to make sure we got everything. So again, 10mm socket. It's just these 4 bolts right here. All right, so these shouldn't be an issue to you can leave them attached, otherwise it's, pull this little clip up, press the button, and they'll detach, but these look easy enough to just pull up and move out of the way. The boot didn't come with that one, that's fine, we can make it. Slide her back up. It's just a boot to keep debris out of the spark plug holes. So this one doesn't want to come out until I get this out of the way. Don't worry, everyone gets hung up on a lot of these clips. They're made to be secure and not really have to come off a ton. Is the issue with a lot of them. Yeah, this one you press top in, and there's a little piece that swings out, and it's a very, very tight clearance. We'll put that out of the way. Remember to stick that together. Not too bad. Okay, we're going to run the shop vac one more time and get everything out of there that I couldn't get with the coil packs that were when they were still in there. All right, that looks clean enough, and these are nice. They have a little lip built in to help keep stuff out. I was just doing this on some Hyundais, and they did not have that little lip built in, so it was very, very easy to knock debris into those spark plug tubes. But it's time to take the spark plugs out. Let's see how these look. This should be, I believe it's a 16 millimeter spark plug socket. Yes, it is. All right. And if we're being honest, I've seen worse. I can't tell how long these have been in there, but you can see that it's still got a little material left there on the grounding portion of it. That little plate is still there, so it's not the worst possible shape it could be, but it's probably been overdue for at least a little bit. But again, it could be worse. We can also take our gapping tool and see what we got. It's about what the gap I was looking up is supposed to be. So doesn't look like it was. These might have been as bad as they could be, but they're definitely burned pretty good. So they've been in there for a while. So it's regardless, it's time. So we'll get the other ones. Gap on this one, still a little bit more. That's closer to 0.04. Because everywhere I read was saying that the gaps on these should be like closer to 0.04 inches, and that's what the exact OEM replacements that I got have said that they were pre-gapped to, and normally NGK is good about that, but they were not gapped with what they said they were at 0.04. So rather than bore you all with me fighting gapping these, I went ahead and did that in advance, but we'll still check them with the gapping tool. And I did try to go a little bit under 0.04 because as spark plugs fire, that electrode material does wear away, so it actually does increase a little bit. So it's not a bad thing to go a little bit under. And gaps are normally a range anyway, so when I'm given a range, I'll go for whatever the, not to the highest end, but wherever midway is or slightly over midway is where I'll try to set the gaps to. check this one. Looks like they're all wearing differently. This one's over 0.04 by a little bit. So definitely a good decision to get these done. Get the last one out here. This electro material is rusted pretty good. See, there's the one shiny spot on the side over there. This one, I don't know. This one's by far in the worst shape. This is the roughest shape of all of them. It's gapping right around 0.04, but I honestly think some of that is actually the rust buildup and not the actual distance between the electrode and the grounding. So that's an interesting one. All right, all 4 spark plugs are out, so now it's time to put the new ones in. So these are the same NGK that we just pulled out. So I try to be nice to occasionally it's myself where I work on the same vehicle again later, or just whoever else gets to work on this. So we're gonna put some anti-seize on the threads here. It just helps prevent rust and corrosion, which is what can make these things very difficult to break free. So anti-seize on this stuff that is known for doing that can make it a lot easier on yourself later on if you're the one getting in, or whoever else does it after you. Would be very thankful for, like the wheel hub I did on the Subaru. Whoever did that anti-seized it, and it came out extremely easily for me. I was very thankful. I was worried that was going to take a lot longer than it did. I could have done this first, but here's what I gapped them to. So I went to, they were gapped around just a touch over 0.03, and that wasn't what I was reading as high enough. So we went up to try to get 0.03678. I was trying to gap somewhere in there. So I'm just going to snug these down by hand first, just so that we don't have the internal engine exposed for longer than we need to. And then we will torque those down all at the same time. I'll show you the gap of the last one, but and if you've been doing this a long time, you're probably not watching this, but if you you're trying to some DIY in your own car, doing spark plugs yourself, I highly recommend that you torque these down. If you've been doing it a long time, you'll kind of get a feel for what it is. But there's a crush washer on here is how it seals, and you don't want to crank down on that and break it, but you need to make sure that it's seated, because that's what seals between the the engine block and your cylinder head. So it's kind of important that it actually gets sealed. Otherwise, that's going to create a multitude of problems for you, and could have been avoided just by having it torqued down correctly. But I have here my torque wrench, and these said 18 pounds. So that's 10 right there. So that is 18. And this is just, an old reliable spring type. Just look for the click. I don't do this enough to justify them fancy ones that I'm not going to use enough. There's that one. Always make sure you take the tension off of your torque wrench when you are done using it. All right. Another thing I like to do to help is a little dielectric grease in the boots over the plugs. It'll help prevent it from corroding, but it's also not going to block the electrical current from flowing. So I'll show you in this one. I just kind of take, you don't need to go crazy, just a little bit. I just have about that much in there. And when I push it over the plug, it'll go up into the coil, and it'll seal the top part of the plug. So that is all good to go, and the last thing to do is to put the engine cover back on. So I found it easiest to kind of line up the two in back, and then the two in front are automatically going to be lined up when you set it in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is spark plugs on this 2013 Kia Soul.